Welcome back. As we've been reporting, the race is on this weekend to rally up as many Senate Republicans as possible to get behind a new bill for a vote this week to repeal Obamacare. Senator James Lankford joins me right now. He's a member of the Appropriations Committee, also Intelligence and Homeland Security Committees. Senator, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good to see you as well. Glad to be with you.
Most people don't understand the Senate rules. They are complex in terms of the rules on governing. You wrote an op-ed about this, and I want to get right to it before we get the status check on that bill to repeal Obamacare. And you say the genesis of the frustration stems from the rules that provide a minority of senators the ability to grind the Senate to a complete halt. Well, that rings true this weekend, sir.
It certainly rings true. There have been two major proposals I've tried to lay out to try to modernize the rules of the Senate. I completely understand the Senate is built around this one thing that's very unique. The minority always has a voice. Not in the House of Representatives, not in the White House, not in the Supreme Court, but in the Senate. It's the only place in the federal government the minority always has a voice. So I want to help protect that. But people don't know there's actually two filibuster votes, what's two called cloture votes, for every single bill that comes up. One at the beginning to get on it, and another one at the end to get off of it. Well, I've said get rid of the one at the beginning. The majority party should always be able to get on whatever bill they want to get on. If the minority is not heard, they won't let them get off the bill. Keep debating until they get it resolved. The other issue is about time. Right now, the Senate Democrats are blocking all the nominations coming up, not because they can lose the vote. They can't. Every one of these nominations is now 51, but they can drag them out to 30 hours of debate because we have 30 hours allotted if the minority chooses to have it. So we've only been able to get through a little over 50 nominations total of the more than 200 that we have. If the Democrats keep slow walking everything, demanding the 30 hours of debate for every single person, it'll be 11 years before President Trump gets his staff.
Incredible. Incredible. Look, I am all with you on this obstructionism coming on the left. I watch it every single day in terms of the left really trying hard to stop President Trump's agenda from getting executed. But I've also got to call out some of your colleagues on the right, Senator, because I am now truly asking the question, does the GOP truly want this president to be successful? With all of this division within the Senate and the division that we saw in the House in terms of getting a bill out to the floor for a vote, does the GOP want this president to succeed?
More than just to want the president to be successful, we want the nation to be successful. We understand things like Obamacare have major issues and major problems. In my state, rates went up 76% just in 1 year last year. We only have one insurance carrier in the state. So we understand what this means, not just for the president and his legacy, but for people at home and for the entire country. So it's got to be done, and it's got to be done right. And those are two key aspects that we're working through right now to make sure that it's right, but it is actually done at the end of this as well.
And we heard from Rand Paul, we heard from Susan Collins, and they say it's not being done right. There are too many things that look like Obamacare in this bill. Rand Paul is talking about these taxes, a 3.8% investment tax,
right,
the payroll tax. They're talking about subsidies that are still in place that should have been taken out. How do you, as a Republican, agree to keep these things in when we know that they are from the Affordable Care Act?
So welcome to, as we're trying to work through finding common ground among 52 Republicans. Not everyone sees it the exact same way, even among Republicans. So we're trying to work among all of us as well. The challenge that we have right now is people want to make sure that we are protecting people in the safety net. That has always been a goal. That people in the safety net need to not just be kicked off and have no access to health care. But we want to make sure that people can actually buy insurance again. Insurance rates are so expensive now in so many places. People that used to be on insurance can't afford it anymore. We also want to get rid of the employer mandate, individual mandate, and return control back to the states. Now, we all agree on all of those things. It's the how to get it done and what that actually looks like. We're working through the details of that to get it done.
What do your colleagues say when you bring up the point of the fact that if this health care bill fails, it's going to impact tax reform as well? The American people voted for this agenda to get executed. Do they care at all or worry at all that, they are going to have a domino effect and they're going to impact the entire agenda not getting executed, which is exactly what their colleagues on the left want?
Absolutely. If they're not worried about it, they should be worried about it. The first promise that we had made to the American people is we're going to repeal Obamacare, try to get rid of as much of it as we possibly can, and to try to replace it with something that actually returns power back to people in the states to be able to make those decisions. If we can't fulfill the first promise, it's hard to believe the second one gets done.
Yeah, exactly.
So this has to be done. It has to be done now. And then to move on to tax reform, we're going to get the economy moving again. That's one of many vehicles. Regulatory reform, economic reform, how we're handling tax reform, all those matter. There's no silver bullet in recovering the economy fully, but definitely one of the major pieces is tax reform.
And real quick, on tax reform, Senator, do you have common ground that you can tell us about? What do you all agree on? What are the sticking points? And in terms of being revenue neutral, do you want a border adjustment tax in there? That's one of the sticking points, right? That's one of the issues up for debate. How many deductions go? How many stay? And what would the corporate rate be? Are you all the way down at 15%, which is where President Trump is?
Yeah, I would be open to 15% rate for the corporate rate, and I'm not with a border tax, a border adjustment tax. The border adjustment tax has come out from some in the House. It has not been well supported in the Senate, and the White House did not include it in their proposal when it came out. There are a lot of details, and as you know, when you start adjusting the dials on tax, there's a lot of dials, and they all move at once. The basic principle of it, we do have common ground. We need to simplify it as much as possible, be able to make sure that people can control it, and quite frankly, I want international companies that are American-based companies functioning all over the world not having an incentive to leave the country to do operations. They need to be able to stay here and bring their money back here. Right now, we punish companies for headquartering here and doing business overseas. That is exactly the opposite of what should be done.
Senator, good to see you, sir. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Senator Lankford there.